it's safe to say the last 24 hours, it has been a whirlwind. It has been a whirlwind for Tennis Weekly. Chris, it's been a whirlwind for you. But it's all kicked off and it all started with a certain wild card and Venus Williams.
It did. I mean, what a chain of events. We now know she is not playing after all of that.
Good
She's definitely
detective
not going to be
work.
there. Yes, detective work. It was rather a strange sort of detective.
Sherlock Chris on the
Sherlock
case in
Chris. Yeah, Sherlock
Copenhagen.
Chris and my Watson was Alina, producer Alina. But we found out from Venus Williams herself in a Tennis Weekly exclusive, as I've already mentioned, that she will not be playing. She did not accept the wild card. And this was all in a very small town called Nesfield, which is about an hour south of Copenhagen, where there was an evening with Venus Williams, which was in a whole arena. It was absolutely huge. And obviously, I was there to be empowered by her book talk, but also I wanted to find out if she was playing Indian Wells. And we found out that she wasn't. And since then, we broke the story. We've been picked up in coverage, I mean, globally. It's been quite something. I mean, BBC, ESPN, The Athletic,
CNN.
CNN, yes, all of these different places. And all because of a trip that we made on a Sunday, just for a day out, really, to go and see Venus Williams talk about her fantastic career. But we must play the clip so you can understand what has gone on, or try and understand what's gone on, because it's not absolutely clear, but it is clear that she is not playing.
And now with the wild card
Oh,
coming up.
actually, I'm not. That wasn't true. That wasn't true.
Really?
Oh, I'm not. Yeah, I found the announcement super amusing because I don't know. People seem to be happy, so I was like, maybe I'll just go with it. I'm actually not going. I'm going. I'm gonna be like in overseas. I'm not gonna be here, so I'll be watching.
No,
Yeah,
you've
I'm
heard it.
sorry,
You've heard it
guys.
here. Thank you.
I just had a player text me today too. Like, can we play doubles? I'm not playing. I found out about the wild card when you guys did. Just saying. So okay, and I love Indian Wells. I would love to be there. And if I could have accepted it, I would have been like, yes, but I already made commitments. No.
Yeah, it's very strange, isn't it, what's happened? But I think the most amusing bit for me was shortly after we broke this news on social media, Tommy Haas, the tournament director, released a statement from the official, account of the BNP Paribas Open to address the fact that Venus is not accepting the wild card this year. So, he obviously got wind of our breaking news. So, I mean, fantastic work there, Chris, going to the depths of deepest Denmark to
There's
bring
just
us
so
this
much to
news.
unpack. There's so many different ways and angles to look at it. But what we understand, a wild card, a player has to apply for a wild card in the first place.
They do. That's how it works. So someone would have to have filled in the form saying that Venus was actually looking for a wild card. Even if you get granted a wild card, it doesn't mean that you'll accept it. But if you are posting about it, you're on the website, it's been announced, you would expect that player to play or there to be communication between the two parties. So, I mean, it's a very odd one because you wouldn't necessarily hand a wild card to Venus Williams, who hasn't played tennis for a year, if she did not express interest, just hoping maybe she would come back.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Serena might have a wild
Yeah,
card
you
as
just
well.
hand out loads of wild cards to players in the hope that they'd
Kim
be like, oh yeah, I
Clijsters.
fancy that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Nadal also has a wild card. No. But that's why it's so strange because it was very serious in its approach and she kind of makes light of it. But I do think potentially there was interest there. She did say she has been training. She did hit balls yesterday in Copenhagen. So that's something that shows that maybe there is a comeback on the horizon. So it's not completely out of the blue. But my favorite part of the story was that Tommy Haas did see our Instagram story. I did tag him because I thought maybe someone should let him know. So I'm thinking maybe we were the people who informed him and it didn't come from Venus, which makes you think, why didn't she tell them? But what I would say is also quite exciting and something we can sort of debate. Who was the player that you think texted Venus and said, are you up for some doubles?
I was just thinking that.
Coco? They played
yeah,
together
that would be a
before.
nice
that would have been
moment.
that would be
Ons,
great.
complete the
I
set.
hope it was Coco.
Could have been Harriet Dart. She's played doubles with her before. Unlikely.
Well, maybe we'll never know, or maybe it will come out in the press conferences when we actually get to Indian Wells.
There's
But,
more to
I
this
mean,
story. There's more to this story.
I hope that people haven't, bought loads of tickets thinking, oh, Venus is there, only to
Yeah.
be disappointed.
Well, they
Uh,
would be disappointed, wouldn't they? And that's
yeah.
that's the thing.
Was there anything else juicy that she mentioned when you went to see her, Chris? Reporting back?
Well, she obviously talked to Serena, and
Hmm.
something very interesting was how quickly the Super Bowl offer came to Serena. Venus didn't really have much idea about it, and even when she attended the rehearsals, she didn't know that Serena would actually be performing at the Super Bowl. She was kind of confused when she went to a warehouse to visit Serena while she was working. She's like, "We don't often talk work," and little did she know Serena was actually performing in a couple of days at the Super Bowl.
I actually went to the rehearsal. I didn't know I was going because I was at the Super Bowl. I had an event it was like an event with young girls in sports, and my older sister Isha, she's like, "Hey, I gotta be." I thought she went to Serena's house by 4. She's like, they're gonna be done by 4, or they're leaving at 4. She just said they're leaving at 4. It's like, oh yeah, we can drop you off. And we're just chatting, and next thing I know, we like pull up to a warehouse. I was like, I thought we were going to we get to rehearsal, so I got to see the rehearsal. It was so cool because I love dance, and I got to see a preview of it. I didn't even know she was doing it, and until that day. Like it was a Friday, and Super Bowl was on Sunday, so we don't even talk about work that much. So it was very cool to see all that, and I think for her it was okay. First of all, how many times is someone going to ask you, "Hey, do you want to perform with me in the Super Bowl?" Pretty much zero. Like it doesn't matter who you are. Like Kendrick didn't even ask another artist really. Like there was a couple, but like basically you don't get a chance to perform at the Super Bowl. So the answer is always absolutely right away. Where should I be? So it had in a lot of ways nothing to do with anyone else. It was like a once in a never opportunity that she got to have. Right, because this time, unlike the Dolphins, I couldn't say, "My name's Williams too, let me show up." It was like, just Serena, And I think for her, it was just about that. And then obviously the history of like, when she did the Crip Walk the first time, the people were like, "No, it's wrong." And so then she just got to Crip Walk all over the world, and that was very powerful.
She did say on that topic that she's actually the better dancer. So Serena maybe
Big
did a
chat.
great job. She said, if you're looking for someone to sort of dance with more spontaneously, she is the better dancer, but maybe not the best when it comes to karaoke. So that
Challenge has been thrown down. It sounds like well, we need a Crip Walk dance off between the Williams sisters.
She didn't dance
Crip
on
walk-off.
stage. Yeah, she didn't dance on stage. It was very much about her book talk. So I feel like maybe that wouldn't necessarily quite have been the move. But either way, I mean, it was such an inspiring talk to go to. She is incredible in terms of her career, in terms of the Venus and Serena story. And they did talk a lot in detail about that and her attitude towards things. So I think, again, either way, I'm hoping that she didn't decide not to play because of some of the backlash around awarding her a wild card. I hope it was because she's actually planning a comeback at another time, at another tournament, and maybe it'll be more along the lines of a farewell or a proper send off. Not trying to send her to retirement, but I also don't want her to kind of have to put up with everyone saying she doesn't deserve a wild card for a wild card that she actually was never going to accept.